got a bass drum exercise for you to start working on today that you should be able to get something out of no matter what level you're at. I'm not gonna waste any time, so let me just start explaining it. The basis of this exercise, many of you have probably already done or done something similar to this before, especially if you're a Bonham fan and have worked on particular Led Zeppelin tracks, because where this thing starts is with a triplet pattern between the right hand and the right foot. A lot of people reference this as sort of like a Bonham-ism, where you're playing constant triplets, where you're playing right hand and then two bass drums. So right kick, kick, right kick, kick, right kick, kick, right kick, kick in triplets. You can then add a backbeat in halftime and get sort of an exercise slash groove slash pattern that sounds something like this. If you've never heard that before, then this might be the place for you to stop, actually. You might want to start just working on that pattern first and check yourself on your right foot double strokes. How quickly can you play those right foot doubles? And this is a great exercise to just build up your raw double speed with your right foot. If this is familiar to you, if you've done something like this before, then you can continue on. This is the more advanced portion and the more, I think, complete way of playing this sort of exercise. We've got two variations to add to the pattern that we just played, and the easiest way to think about it is like this. Okay, consider the triplets that we were just playing between our right hand and our foot, right? We were playing hand, foot, foot, hand, foot, foot, or hat, kick, kick, hat, kick, kick. And if we take those three evenly spaced notes, those triplets, we can think about moving where the hi-hat is placed, where right now it's on the first note, hat, kick, kick. We could instead move it to the second note or to the third note and just shift a bass drum in its place. So we'd have these three variations: hat, kick, kick, hat, kick, kick, or we could have kick, hat, kick, hat, kick, or kick, kick, hat, kick, hat. This is called a permutation, and I love working on bass drum exercises in this sort of way because it pulls you out of the sort of mindless just playing one pattern over and over. It keeps your brain a little more engaged, and it gives you some new vocabulary that you might not have ever played before or been used to playing. Let me show you what I mean. Here's what that original pattern is going to sound like, and then the two variations with a backbeat. So if you were just listening to those and you thought, okay, that first one sounds normal to me, but those other two variations sound weird, this might be the place for you to stop and just slowly work on those two other variations where we're putting the hi-hat in kind of an unusual place. And in fact, you might be playing your bass drums in kind of an unusual place for you. When we have the hi-hat on the last triplet, we're playing the first two triplets on the bass drum, which seems like it should be fairly common, but in triplet grooves, it's actually kind of rare that we play the first two triplets on the kick. If you're finding all of that easy, then we can move on. We can turn up the tempo to 140, 150 BPM-ish, and we can start cycling through those three examples without stopping. Here's what that would sound like. So that is our kind of expanded Bonham-inspired bass drum exercise that I think does so much more than just work on your kick speed. It also really keeps your mind engaged and gives you some new vocabulary in triplets. And what we can do now is I can just maybe, I don't know, start messing around in triplets and kind of in a shuffly sort of feel and try incorporating some of this vocabulary that we just developed. So there's a bass drum exercise we can all start working on today. Feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time.